Hey guys, it's Andrew Donovan back for Havana Castle Cigars in London, Ontario, Canada. And I had a customer come in. He said, I was watching some of your videos, and that's the reason why I came in. I was wondering if you could do a video on different ways to cut cigars, because he was under the impression that there's just one straight cut, and that's just cutting off the cap. I was like, actually, there's a couple more ways if you really want to know. So I thought that'd make a pretty good video idea. So the first one is the most obvious one, and I'll just get right to it. I took some of these cigars. They're just cheapies that we sell here, 3 for $8. They're from Nicaragua. Not a bad little throwaway smoke. So I've got 4 of them for 4 different methods. And the first method is obviously just a straight cut across. Now, you're going to see on a cigar, particularly on one with a rounded top, not so much on the torpedoes or the bellicose, you're going to see that there's a cap. Okay, so basically they roll the entire cigar in a wrapper, and at the end they put a cap on it. And you'll see there's a very defined line of where this cap goes around the top of the cigar. And ideally what you want to do is you want to snip just a little bit above that. The reason why you don't want to snip the cap right off is because if you do, the cigar is then prone to unraveling, because if you start to cut, you basically cut into the wrapper. So I'm just going to cut it straight off. Excellent. And there you go. So it's a clean cut right off the top. Sometimes this is a short filler cigar, so you're going to get a little bit of remnants. It's going to be a little bit more messy than a long filler cigar. The next one is my personal favorite way of cutting a cigar, and it's a V-cut. So this is just a very cheap plastic V-cutter that we have here for $5. And it does a job though, in a pinch. And essentially it just comes straight across and it cuts a little V or an I, some people call it, into the cigar. Good thing about the V-cuts is if you've got the right size cigar anyways, this won't work on the bigger ring gauges so much, but it's got a groove where the cigar sits in, and then essentially, I'm left-handed, so I gotta do everything left-handed. Essentially, all you do is just push it in, and you got just a little V. See that? It's tiny. I'm gonna post a link in the description below of the cutter, the V-cutter that I would most recommend. I've used it a bunch of times. It feels like you're cutting through butter with this thing. It's made by Colibri. It's their V-cut. It's a phenomenal cutter. Can't recommend it enough. So if you really want to get a high quality cutter, I know they retail for $60 here at Havana Castle, around that I think. But they're worth every penny if you want a good quality lighter. The third way to cut them, and I don't really recommend it, but it can be done in a pinch, is take a match. Really anything that's like short and skinny. Some guys on the golf course actually use their tee. I wouldn't recommend doing that, especially if the tee's been in the ground, because they use pesticides and stuff in the grass, but to each their own. What you want to do is you want to just take the match and you want to drive it through the top of the cigar. And this is basically punching the cigar, because there are little tiny punches. I don't like using them, but in a pinch, this is what you can do. Just take anything, even like a little screwdriver, a mini screwdriver, and just jam it through the top, and you've created a hole. I don't know if you can see that. And you can just go in a couple inches, not even, and that's enough to draw the smoke through the cigar. The problem I have with that, with this method, and the reason why I wouldn't use it, is on a cigar like this, a throwaway, a farmer cigar, call it what you will, it's fine. Not that big of a deal. You're not really smoking it because it's for its taste or for its body, or you're just smoking it because you like having a cigar. If you have a nice cigar, if you have something from Cuba, or you have a Rocky Patel or something like that, I don't recommend it, because basically you're pushing the cap into the tobacco. So the idea behind a cigar is that like it has a flavor to it, obviously. And the flavors change, like the profile changes throughout the cigar, at least on the good ones. Maybe not so much in the Cubans, but anyhow, I'm getting too technical. The flavor changes throughout the cigar, and you want to be able to taste those flavors coming through. And if you jam something into the center of your cigar, chances are you're going to do a little bit, you're going to make some disruptions within the cigar that you're not getting the true taste out of it. And you're just, you're just jamming things in. It's meant to have a nice easy path when you draw the cigar, so that it's easy to draw, essentially. The last way, and I highly don't recommend this, and I'm just gonna make this a 2-in-1. Okay, so it's actually 5 ways. One, if I've done this before and I hate even admitting it on video, but you cut it with a knife, like a steak knife at home. It's horrendous. It makes a bloody mess and it gets all over your mouth. If you're gonna do that, if you're gonna cut it with a knife at home, you might as well just like man up and just bite it off. That's disgusting. I butchered that. Might as well just smoke it out the other end now. Never do that with a cigar, okay? It might look cool in the movie. It's gonna ruin your cigar. And these things are only $2, so I'm not too heartbroken over it. But anyways, that's essentially how you, the different ways to cut a cigar. Hope that video was a little bit informative. And if you want me to do any other videos in the future, just comment below and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching.